Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Self-Publishing Insiders with Draft Digital. I'm Jim Azevedo, and today my guests are Dale Roberts and Nick Thacker. So you guys probably know Dale Roberts already, but in case you don't, he's the man behind the wildly popular Dale L. Roberts YouTube channel and the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast. My buddy Nick Thacker runs the author success division here at Drafted Digital. He is the VP of author success. He's also the man who's tasked with building out bookcovers.com, making it the source for high quality, low cost, professionally designed book covers. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Glad to be here. Trying to get the sheen off of my forehead. I'm getting more foreheady as I get older. So.
Aren't we all?
Don't tell me about forehead.
Yeah, Dale got his lighting lowered for that reason. So
exactly.
So we've got a serious discussion on our hands here, guys, because these scammers. I mean, publishing scams are nothing new, right? They've been around probably as long as publishing itself, but they've been kicked into high gear. It seems like everybody is getting targeted. They're moving faster and they're just way more sophisticated. Yeah. So this is something that I want to spend some time talking to you guys about. I want to understand, what you've heard, what you've seen. Nick, behind the scenes, you mentioned the psychology of all of this, which I think is brilliant, why indie authors are being targeted so heavily. But maybe we could start just by kind of setting the groundwork a little bit. Dale, maybe we could start with you. What is your experience? Like, maybe take us back a few years. What did publishing scams look like, maybe going back 5-10 years?
5-10 years ago, it was a lot of cold prospecting via email and DMs. But in a lot of instances, people could spot those things from almost a mile away. Most people could. Because, there was the telltale signs of, poor grammar choice, typos, a bad email address, things like that. So that was 5 to 10 years ago. It was a little harder for the scammers to get in, but boy, they've really just ratcheted that up like a couple levels here over the past few years. And I think we all can agree it's because of one thing. And it's artificial intelligence. It literally levels the playing field, and it gives these scammers a bit of a tool that they have an edge, and they're able to kind of skip over some of those things that we would have normally saw, those typos. Not to say that there's no typos or grammatical mistakes that are going out in some of these scammers things, but yeah, it's changed considerably.
Absolutely. I just want to say to our viewers and our listeners out there, if you guys are watching via Facebook and YouTube, pipe into the comments section. Let us know if you've been the target of a scam. That would be interesting to see in this particular episode. I would love to see that, because I feel like everybody I know has been targeted or impersonated. I want to talk about maybe the different types. And Nick, and stop me, Nick, if you wanted to add something to what Dale had said.
I can. I'm really mostly excited to hear what Dale's about to say about the impersonation stuff. The one that I've seen really crop up recently as an author, right? As I'm the recipient of these scams as well, just like anyone. But it's this email that is pretending to be someone else. If you look into the email headers or the address, which sometimes is one step away, which is why these look real. The email address is often a Gmail. It's almost always a Gmail account, because those are free to set up. That is very close to the name of the person they're trying to impersonate. But the person they're trying to impersonate in this email to the author, to me, is a real person. It's a real person at a real publishing house, or in many instances, like a movie studio. And this has become so rampant that I'm now getting probably 15 to 20 every morning or every day. I wake up to 15 or 20 every morning, and a lot of them are now, like multi-step scams where they're like, "Hey, we found your book, and it's really it's the name of my most recent book, and then we run this book club, and we want to feature your book, and you have to click a link, and I'm sure if you click the link, your identity is immediately stolen or something. No, it's probably sophisticated enough that you click a link and it looks like a real form. And then at some point, they're like, okay, well, we charge a $50, placement fee or feature fee or something like that. Almost innocently, like it almost feels like an innocent, like, oh yeah, this is a real book club. And this is a real group that wants my book. And that's what scares me about all this is it's so seemingly innocent, right? It's not a Nigerian prince scam that's so easy to, well, that's obviously a scam.
Yeah.
It's very real.
Yeah, they're getting better and better.
It's getting really sly. And I, Nick, you brought up a really good point and how that's one of the things that's been happening with me. And I'm sure a lot of other creators that are inside the space like me, where, for instance, this is a screenshot that someone sent to me. It was Dale KDP Robert support @gmail.com. First of all, my last name has an S at the end of it. If you're gonna scam people, at least spell my name right, damn it. But it said, I saw your comment on the recent video about Drafted Digital and Bookshop teaming up, and that's nice timing made me smile. It usually means something is either in motion or about to be. And they go on for about another like 4 or 5 paragraphs where they're just pretty much buttering up this person. This new scam is so sophisticated. What they're doing is they're scraping YouTube comments, and based on the video and how they commented, they're able to grab that context, contact the person via email, and how they found the email, maybe through YouTube or any of the other social medias that are attached to that YouTube channel. But they find that stuff, and then they go ahead and target them and say, hey, come buy my coaching or my promotional services. Spoiler alert, everybody, I don't offer coaching and I don't offer promotional services. In fact, I don't ever cold prospect people, and I stand absolutely nothing to gain by moving a comment from YouTube where I get rewarded over into emails. No,
Yeah.
like I'm going to stay and I'm going to keep that conversation there because I'm more rewarded there. And on top of that, like I'm not offering promotional or whatever services these clowns are offering. So it's super important that if you are following any type of YouTube video content creators, keep your guard up. Like that's going to be the very first thing, is keep your guard up. I know it's like, hey, don't trust me is what I'm telling you, because of instances like this where you don't know for sure that would be me unless you were following me like every time. And I know, Nick, you're probably the only person that watches every single one of my videos, but not everybody's going to catch that.
Yeah, usually
right,
I have it on repeat.
I owe you one, man.
TV at night. We've got a second TV with Dale's channel, constantly streaming. Man, this is something that has happened to us at Drafted Digital as well. I mean, I was literally at an in-person conference last year, and I was talking to an author who thought they had published their book with us 2 years prior. And immediately the red flags, because she was like, oh yeah, so when I paid for this and I got this, and I'm like, well, first of all, we don't do that. The service is we don't publish books, we distribute books, right? Like depending on semantic definition, like we're not publishing your book. We're not, providing that service. There are services that do. Anyway, and so we got to talking, and we very quickly, both of us realized sort of at the same time, oh no, she used a company. And I don't even remember the actual name, and I don't want to say the actual name because I don't want to give him any credit. But it was something like draft2digitalpublishing.com or so, some very similar sounding name that, again, they had a website, a real website. They stole our actual logo, and, they're a vanity press. That's not only a vanity press, which I have feelings about, but they were scamming vanity press on top of it. So they were just taking people's money and not providing anything. And so we're getting hit with it all the time. I know our CEO and legal team that we have sends out cease and desist letters regularly, and it's something that, man, I just want to go to every author in person and be like, just be careful. But it's so hard. That's what we're talking about today, though, is, how do we make sure it's the real Dale L. Robert and not with an S. So how do we do that? I mean, what's the, anyway, that was my big question for the day,
Yeah, I want to talk about some of the different types of scams that we've seen now. We've already hit upon impersonation scams. I think it was earlier this week, our own Mark Coker, the founder of Smashwords, he sent an email to internally to the group, just telling everybody, like, look at this impersonation scam of me. that targeted an author, probably several authors, but targeted an author coming from Mark's voice and Mark's name, and they even had Mark's picture embedded into the email, just promising all these different services, identifying him as a senior editor at Smashwords. And obviously Smashwords does not even provide publishing services anymore. So it's pretty nefarious out there. So just be vigilant, everybody. Let's see. I wanted to talk about some different types of publishing scams and their quote unquote services that they offer. And this is a list I took from Writer Beware, because that's one of the organizations you guys want to bookmark on your websites, Writer Beware. And I will put a link up here just real quickly. There's several organizations, but Writer Beware is one of the best. I'm putting their blog up here because for some reason it appears that their website is temporarily down, but if you go to the blog, you can get access to everything. But some of the services that they're talking about can be things like republishing or rebranding of your already published book. And oftentimes you'll be asked to go ahead and do this, and they'll offer these services for relatively reasonable prices or even free, because they're trying to hook you in. They're trying to hook you into those more expensive services. There are also junk marketing scams out there where they'll try to sell you some marketing with a huge markup, like a press release for like $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that. Just ridiculous stuff. Or email campaigns, or book fair booth displays, or paid radio and TV interviews, like all kinds of just junk. And then they'll offer book to screen services, where they'll take your book and they'll turn it into a screenplay, and they'll give it all the treatment and all the pitch deck creations, supposedly to get you in front of these Hollywood producers and whatnot. And of course, they offer endorsements and representation to Hollywood and traditional publishers, and stuff like that. So what are, beyond just the obvious, because it feels like, well, this should be obvious to us, but again, these guys are getting better and better and better at making it sound legit. What are some of the red flags that authors should know about when they open an email like this?
I think Nick and I already kind of tagged on one. If it's coming from Gmail, it can't be serious. Okay. And this is not to punch down on anybody that uses Gmail to conduct their author business, but from a perspective of a service provider, if you are receiving something from a Gmail address, they shouldn't be taken seriously. Any self-respecting person that is running their business is going to have something that's going to be domain specific. And then even then, you need to pay attention to that domain name, because someone can go over, for instance, and buy self-publishing with Dale.com. You have to pay attention to those things. But to me, I think that there's those telltale signs. The other thing I think also will safeguard you to a certain extent is going to be, your peer network, speaking with other authors and sharing with, what you have and your concerns, because chances are very likely they'll be able to help you sniff things out as well. But, to me, Gmail, biggest red flag. Like, no, you're out. I'm not even bothering with you.
Okay.
To piggyback on that too, Dale, I think it was 2023. It was February, because I remember having to send or teach all the authors we had at Author Email how to do this. Gmail and Yahoo unilaterally decided to combat spam, that in order to send any marketing email from now on, the domain had to be DKIM signed and SPF records, and basically spoof proofed. And so. Which means if you're using a service, and you should be as an author, you should use Author Email, but you can use an email marketing platform like MailChimp or MailerLite or Author Email to send your emails to your people. That's a business expense that most authors should have. The point is, you can't use a free email address at those services anymore. It's just not allowed. Gmail won't allow you to use their email or their domain like they used to. You used to be able to get a MailChimp account with a Gmail address. You can't do that anymore. So the fact that you're getting an email from a supposed business from a Gmail account is a huge red flag now, more than it ever has been. So make sure you're looking at, and I'm kind of briefly skirted over this. I'm an email guy, and I don't want to bore people with the nitty-gritty details, but in your email inbox, whatever you use, Outlook or whatever, Often the actual email address that it really came from is hidden by a flag or a tag to make it easier to read for the recipient. So it'll say a name like Dale Roberts, but if you click that or hover over it or something, you should be able to see the actual email address that it originated from. So if it's a Gmail, it's a dead giveaway a lot of times that it's not real. But again, you'll see the domain there too. And if it came from, Dale L. Robert with no S, all of that, Dale L. Robert with no S, .com. And it's probably, probably not actually him. So that is, I just wanted to double down on that one, because that's the first and usually only flag you need if it's Gmail address. The second thing I do want to say, and this, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think this is true. The vast majority of the world doesn't care about your stuff. It doesn't care about your book. They don't like it. They don't want it to be in their book club. I'm not saying that it's not the best book ever written. What I'm saying is most people don't know who you are. Most people, there's a lot of people in the world, right? So I think that's just a mathematical fact that most of them don't know who you are. So it's very just unlikely that a movie studio wants your book so badly that they're going to send you a cold email to get it. But by the way, that's not how those deals work. You usually don't, that's not the direction they go. You get an agent, the agent does the studio deal, all that stuff, and it's still a crapshoot. But the point is, again, hate to be the bearer of bad news. This is going to get into the psychology of it a little bit, so I won't say too much, but I think that's one of the big problems is we as authors, we want that validation so badly. We want that affirmation so badly from external sources that aren't our mom, that say this book is good. And so it feels really nice to get an email that looks real from these places. But just know that any email you get saying that people like your book is probably at this point a scam, just because it's happening so often, and the vast majority of these people don't know who you are anyway. I hate that. That's a really negative way of saying that, but you guys can probably polish it up and make it sound bitey for me.
No, I'm just saying. But I've been working on my book for years, Nick. I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. I know it's good.
It is good. It's the best thing ever written.
Coming after me, Nick, and I've got this literary agent that came to me and a couple of publishers. I mean, these are all legit people. These are, I've got some big 5 publishers. I recognize the name and the logo and their email addresses.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, look, at the end of the day, it's really a caveat emptor, I guess. The downside of all this really isn't that big of a deal. You're wasting your time. Yeah. What am I trying to say? Like, what they're trying to get, the scammer is trying to get money from you. What we've seen, what I've seen, now this could change, but what I've seen is this isn't an identity theft play. This isn't something where they're trying to steal your social security number, get your bank account information. They just want you to click a button and, PayPal them some money. That's the scam. So as long as you don't do that, all you've done is wasted your time, following up with these people. So that's one approach too, is if you really do think this could be real, send a reply. It's probably going to bounce if it's a fake email address anyway, but if it does go through, you'll get that next step. They'll be greedy. They'll say, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we want to have you in this totally real book club that I didn't just make up today. Send me money here. And then you'll know, okay, cool. That's not how that works. Book clubs don't need your money. That's not, I'm sure they would love it, but that's not how that works. So you're not even trying to say like, I'm not trying to tell you to engage with these guys at all. But in your hypothetical instance, Jim, really, there's not a lot of downside. You're not going to get in trouble responding to an email. It's when they ask you to send you money that then you can know for sure that this is a scam. This isn't real.
So, okay. So so the first check mark is like publishers, literary agents, movie producers. They just don't reach out. That's not how this works.
Not the direction that information flows. Yeah.
And the second point you touched upon is if they're asking for money up front, that is also not how this works. Huge red flag. Another thing I've heard from authors out there are the sales teams coming after you incessantly. I think I've mentioned on this show already that I met an author, and just to get one book out, the guy paid $75,000 because they kept upselling him for different things.
Yeah.
And so we're here just to arm you guys with information to avoid these scams like the plague. If you can. Are there any other red flags that I've missed? Probably, but what do you think, Dale?
I mean, yeah, there's the obvious things. So for instance, the movie deal, I think I got a deal from Universal Studios like a year ago for my book, Amazon Keywords for Books. And I was like, oh, that'll make a tremendous movie. So there are some times where you kind of look at that and go, you didn't vet the things that you were sending through your bot, did you?
Yeah, I've received emails. So maybe this is a red flag. I've received emails from Dan Brown, totally the actual Dan Brown, 100%. I got one from Rebecca Yaros, obviously Fourth Wing of fame, and telling me how awesome my books were, and she wanted to help promote it or something, whatever. One click away, I could find the answer, I'm sure. But I know Rebecca Yaros. She lives, like whatever. Like I know her, and I'm like, I could just text her and be like, hey, did you send me this? The point is, if this is how these scams are working right now, is they're finding a big name author. If they're doing their job well enough, they'll try to make it the same genre. Like Dan Brown is the genre that I write. I'm better than him, but read my book instead. But they're going to try to use a big name that you've heard of to get you interested. And oh my gosh, yeah, Dan Brown is my genre. That's great. But that's in and of itself a red flag, because they're not digging deep into the indie space to try to find the indie author who's writing in your genre, and they're going to use that name to try to entice you. So they're usually all the ones I've seen are famous authors, is my point. And again, going back to my spout of negativity, Dan Brown doesn't care about your book. Rebecca Yaros doesn't know you exist. Sorry, just the way it is. So if you see a big name on there, that's a red flag, is my point. She knows I exist. Sorry, she doesn't know you guys exist. That's my point.
I'm not sure if that was a flex or.
Yeah, no, it was mostly just trying to punch down on you guys specifically.
There it is. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
My computer froze for a second, so I missed all of that. So, how funny. Yeah, I don't know what I missed, but I for some reason I'm glad
I didn't think you were joking. I thought you were joking. Your computer actually.
Oh no,
froze.
it seriously did. Like everything froze. I'm like, oh great, I'm gone.
It was a sick insult. You missed it. A sick burn. Anyway, it was irrelevant. Yeah, so I think the red flag, Jim, is just that if it's a big name author that comes into your inbox, it's probably not a big name author.
Yeah. One thing that blows my mind that I've seen is just how some of these systems can take a book that they find online, go through it, and grab that summary and come up with a pretty good pitch, a pretty good sounding pitch to the unaware out there. Have either of you received something like that? Because they're pretty good. They follow plot lines and they talk about.
Yeah, I think, and I could do this in an afternoon. Wire up something like Firecrawl to scrape Amazon page. Yep. Because all on that one page, you've got the blurb, obviously the title of the book, you got the description, and you've got the reviews. And so one scrape, you could take all of that, feed it into some LLM, some AI, and say, write an email that is talking up this book. And that's how it's going to get a good summary of what's on that page. It's all automated. I don't think anyone's actually sitting there picking it apart and reading the book and doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Should we shift gears and talk about, you guys already touched upon this a little bit. We talk a little bit more about how an author can protect themselves. Maybe that's by using one of the author advocacy groups, but let me know your short and quick answers. So, how can I protect myself as an author? Maybe I'm an aspiring author. I'm just getting into this. I'm just trying to put my feelers out into the internet, but maybe I'm more established. Maybe I've got a series or two under my belt. What do you guys think?
The very first thing, I've said this already, but it comes down to just surrounding yourself with other authors. Even if they're not, in the same niche, just having authors around you is better than trying to go it alone, because otherwise you're having to kind of sift through things and figure, oh, is this a scam? Is this not a scam? I could be able to, for instance, reach out to you, Jim, or Nick, or even like Kevin, or is any number of people and say, hey, I got this email. What do you make of this? This really helps out, because at least you're not alone. And on top of that, other authors can be able to express, oh yeah, I got that same exact type thing, but it was in my book for my thing right here, or I did that comment there. So I think it needs to be we as authors need to be a lot more vocal about these types of things happening. And we need to be vocal about it in a way that's direct, where we're talking with other authors and sharing and spreading the word. So that way people aren't falling for it. Because I often wonder who falls for this, because someone does fall for it. Otherwise, these scams wouldn't be happening. So that's just, the biggest thing is get the word out. Tell as many people as you possibly can and speak with peers inside your network before you make any huge decision. Go through somebody else. Just put it through a filter. Like, say, hey, what do you think about this? And chances are very likely they'll help you out to have it pass the sniff test. Is it good? Is it bad? Chances are very likely any type of feelings you have about something, you might go, oh yeah, because I've seen that inside my own Discord community where some people are like, hey, I got this email the other day with X, Y, and Z. And some people are like, no, don't bother with that. It's really cool how protective indie authors are of each other.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned your Discord, because I was going to toss that out there as a practical, actual place to go. I don't know if I think it's an open community, right? You can just go join. I'm already in it.
Yep.
Yeah. So go join Dale's Discord community. It's a fantastic place to do exactly that. Just pop it in there. Hey, I got this email. Here's the body of it, whatever. And, people need follow-up. They'll ask the question. 20 books to 50K, Facebook group, Wide for the Win, Facebook group. We already mentioned Writer Beware. That's a kind of a one-way blog. You read the blog post, and a lot of the vanity presses that are not, man, I hate saying this, that aren't scamming people. They're literally they're not doing anything illegal. They're just doing things that are unethical because they're usually charging way more money for something than they should. That doesn't make it a scam by definition. That's why I say I hate saying that. Writer Beware was a great place to see all those, because these are legitimate companies, at least in the eyes of the US law. Great place to find those. It's harder to find write-ups on these individual scams there because there's just too many. There's just so many going on, right?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned
these writer groups are awesome for that.
Sorry, Nick. I was just going to say, I put the blog back up there again for Writer Beware, because they maintain a comprehensive list of different scams and different publishing houses that they have flagged, only based on evidence. They will only add a name to that list if they have evidence that they tried to scam authors. So if you go to writerbeware.blog, check out that list. It is comprehensive. Like, it just you'll keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So if there is a name that you've come across, you want to check it out, writerbeware.blog has a great list of those. Then you can, if you're not sure, you can send them an email at Beware at SFWA. The Science Fiction Writers Association is what supports that blog, the Writer Beware blog. So if you're not sure, just ask them a question. Also, it's worth mentioning the Authors Guild. I think the Authors Guild is a great resource for writers of all stripes out there. If you're not sure, they also have a list of different potential scams out there. They kind of break them apart and talk through them as well, so you can learn more about all these different types of scams that are happening today. And I would be remiss if I also didn't mention the Alliance of Independent Authors and their watchdog desk, which is excellent. And any of these websites that we've shared with you guys, all of them have contact us pages or email addresses right there on the website. So if you're not sure, just don't feel funny about it. Don't feel like, oh, this is silly. I don't want to ask because I don't want to feel like I'm getting scammed. To Dale's excellent point, please bring it up. Please share it out there, because you might not know. You might have uncovered a new scam out there that is targeting authors. So please let everybody know, as many people as you possibly can know, so that together we can all shut these guys down.
Yeah. One of the things to kind of just tack on here, because I don't know really where it fits in terms of the general talk. I just wanted to point out, like, a lot of us, how should I say this? Old people like me who have been on the internet for a long time have seen a lot of this stuff. And because we have been on the internet a long time and we've seen, I mentioned the Nigerian prince scam, all that stuff being so goofy and so silly. And to Dale's question of how does anybody fall for this? I think that's why these are especially nefarious now, because we're falling for them. Meaning people like me. I haven't paid money to these people, but I've certainly got that email and had that thought, what if this is it? What if this is the real one? What if this is really Steven Spielberg wanting to make the Enigma Strain into a movie? If you're watching, Steven Spielberg, by the way, would make a great movie. here's the deal. Like, I remember reading somewhere, somebody did a study on those Nigerian print scams and like the emails that would go out. They would purposefully put in typos, misspelled words, basically to weed out the smart people. That was literally what they were doing. They were just weeding out anybody who was going to try to troll them back and waste their time. Anybody who's going to be like, I know this is fake because of the typo, wasting the scammer's time. That would weed out all those people. And the only people who would fall for it were the people at the time who, had never been on the internet maybe, or old person who would just, I don't know, whatever. That's not happening now. With these scams, they're well written. They're like Jim pointed out, they're all the actual book of yours that with the actual description, and they get the synopsis right. And I think the difference is scammers don't have to worry about wasting time anymore because they can just write a bot that handles all of this and then just spam emails 100,000 people at a time. And all they have to do is make sure they have a list of authors to send that to. And 1% of them have to click on that link and pay them money or whatever they're trying to do for them to win. So that's why I just, it's interesting. Now I was thinking about like, wow, this is not, we're prepared for the Nigerian print scam is what I mean. And we're not prepared for this because we haven't been trained to spot these things like we have, with the internet of the past, I guess. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of point that out too, because I've been thinking about this quite a bit recently. Like, why is this working? I thankfully haven't fallen for it, but we read an expose on somebody who paid hundreds of thousands or close to $100,000 on this stuff, like Jim said. And man, I feel for these people. And then at the same time, I'm like, how did you fall for this? But this is how. That's how.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Nick, some of the psychology about it. I know you've just touched upon that. You touched upon it a little bit earlier, but can you go a little bit deeper on that? Like, because it feels like
I'm not a psychologist, but I have thoughts on it. And I think it comes down to, technology being what it is. It's just very efficient and inexpensive for scammers to run these bot farms to do this. That's one big change. But then the psychology side of it is they have found a group of people, authors, a species that is very, it's craving the human interaction. It's craving that confirmation of, or validation is probably a better word. And because that's true. We do. I mean, I'm talking about authors with a broad brush here, so forgive me, but we want that. And of course we want other humans to look at our work and say, oh my gosh, this is really good. And so it's a perfect marriage. Scammers have the technology. There's enough of us in the indie author space now. This isn't a small little group of, cottage industry people anymore. It's a big business. And the indie author industry is in its adolescence now, and so it's time, I guess. It's time it found us. This is happening in any industry that's been on the internet for a while, but it's finally gotten to the point where there's enough indies and collectively we have enough money that we're a good target for these people doing this stuff, scamming people. But I think the psychology piece is really important. I don't have much to say on it because I don't know the answer, but it's more just a question. Why are we as authors more prone than the average Joe to fall for these? And to be honest, I don't know that we are. I think it's just, it's hitting something in human psychology. We get these emails from Dan Brown, I'd be lying if I say I didn't read the whole email, just in case, just in case it was him. You know what I mean?
We're all emotionally noticed. It's that validation. We're emotionally invested in this work, and especially if we've spent months, years crafting just this novel, and suddenly you've got some type of validation, unsolicited validation, no less. And when that comes in, it feels good. And hey, I don't want to tell you not to feel good when you see those scam emails. Go ahead and look at it and enjoy it. Just remember that it's probably not what you think it is. So
if for just getting better practice at reading these emails and knowing what to look for, read the whole email. Maybe that's a good piece of advice is don't click anything, please. But but read it so you know what we're talking about. If you're an author that's published a book in the last year, you've probably gotten an email like this. Maybe it went to spam, maybe it went to junk, but if you're an author and you've got your email address somewhere out online, and chances are you do, just because of the nature of how everything works now, you've probably gotten one of these. But if you're looking at us going, I don't know what you're talking about, your time's coming. Trust me, you're going to get one of these emails. anyway.
I'm very fortunate that I'm an author as well as a video creator, so I'm getting hit from scamming angles, all angles here on this one here, because I have some people that, you know, want to show me how I can become the next viral sensation, or how they saw my one video and with a few tweaks they're going to make it viral. No, you're not. Shut up.
I think it was on your video. I saw, because I do watch all your videos on repeat all day long, every day. Somebody commented about the thumbnails. It was clearly like a guy who was trying to get you to buy his service or whatever. Hey, I can make your thumbnails explode your YouTube channel, you know, with whatever million views. And I'm like, dude, that is actually a legit thing you could provide. That's a real thing. Why do you sound like you're spamming people? Like, just it's so funny to me, because I was reading that, immediately knew it was like a scam, but I was like, you didn't I don't know, whatever. I would be a very good scammer if I was. That's all I'm saying, guys. I'd be so good.
Aspirations, Nick. Aspirations.
I'd be so good at this. If I had fewer scruples, I'd be a mastermind villain.
Darn your moral compass.
Yeah, darn it. I want to bring up this quick comment here from Angela Smith. She says, well, maybe that's a new sign of making it. Have you been spoofed yet?
Yeah, maybe I've made it, I guess.
You're right. I'm feeling like a little bit of a loser here because I haven't been spoofed yet. That is not an invitation for anybody to spoof me, please.
What are you talking about? I get emails from Jim Azevedo all the time. Jim Avocado, right? Jim Avocado.
Avocado, yes.
That's right. That's me, everybody.
That's really you, isn't it?
Yeah. But I also want to bring up this other comment, because I think it really makes sense from Alana, who says, this sounds like it is actually going in a positive direction, bringing the enlightened, honest communities together. They are helping us get there. It's true. Like, we all have to band together. That's one of the things, and I've mentioned it time and time again on this podcast, is that I love my job. I love this community so much because of what I see out there, and everybody just kind of, you know, stopping what they're doing for themselves and helping out their fellow authors. And I think that's what we are known for. And that's what brings this community together and makes it stronger. And absolutely, we can, I think, well, I want to say absolutely we'll defeat the scammers, but we have to stick together and do the work.
I think we'll wait them out. I don't think there's defeating this. I don't think there's there's no authority that has the resources and manpower to go individually and shut down these accounts, or, you know, the email addresses and all that. Gmail has proved time and again it doesn't care. You know, we don't want to get too far into that, but the point is, I don't think they're going to be defeated. I think we're just going to wait them out. You know, we'll have better and better spam filters that are built into our email platforms. We'll have you know, more education in the industry, just like this, the community of people saying, nope, that's a scam. That's good. Nope, those guys are real. Those guys are fake. We need to keep doing that. But eventually, I'm optimistic. I think these scammers, this body of people, whoever it is doing this kind of stuff, will just move on. You know, it just won't be the. I mentioned this industry is in its adolescence. You know, it's not the publishing industry of old. It's this new thing that kind of came out around the same time the Kindle was launched. And this whole industry, like companies like Drafted Digital, were built on it. But we're not a baby industry anymore. Like, we're in our adolescence. And so that's exactly when this stuff starts to happen in an industry, in a cottage industry like this. And so the point is, it will probably always be around in some iteration, but we'll also just get more and more aware of it as we go, as collectively, as a society, as an industry. So I'm optimistic that, you know, 5 years from now, we're not having this conversation anymore. But that doesn't mean we should ever let our, you know, like, lower our hackles or anything. We need to make sure we're being vigilant. Go get a community is probably the bottom line here, right? If you are the isolated author working in your basement and don't talk to people, change that. There's a lot of good mental health reasons to change that. But go get a community, go get an industry, even if it's only online is all you can do. That's fine. Go find real people doing real author stuff and connect with them, you know? I guess that's, like I said, it's a great bottom line. It's a great, probably the only thing I can think of that's like a guaranteed you're going to get the right answer, you know, is having a community that you can trust.
Great point, Nick. Did you want to add anything to that, Dale?
No, I don't think I can. Honestly, it's just, you know, definitely keep your guard up and chat with other authors. It'll take you good places. I think Layla Bell had mentioned something. Scammers are all over Discord. That is true. It pays to be in a community that curates and vets their space. I have actually more recently put up a 3-step system to even get into my community. And then I have a team of moderators that are trained assassins. They will literally take out a bot within minutes. Like they're like, boom, they see it, it's gone. So, but yes, watch out for Discord, because Discord is rife with a bunch of scammers. They'll try to reach out to you in DMs. My community, it's one of those instances where I'm like, please do not DM people unless they ask you to.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. But yes, be very careful out there. There are tons of forums. You do not have to come over to my Discord server. There's tons of other ones. I know Author Nation's got a Discord. I know that there's tons of Facebook groups and things like that. Just find a good space. And even if you lurking's okay. And then when something comes up and you're like, I'm not sure about this, you'll be able to post it and have a little bit of assistance on that.
Yeah, look, guys, if you're out there going, I don't like any online stuff, any social media. Look, I get it. I actually got kicked off of Facebook, and I mourned it for about a minute, and then it's been great. Ever since then, my career took a nosedive because I could no longer advertise there, but whatever. The point is, I want to give you permission to email me, not personally, but because I get enough email already from Dan Brown, mostly. But if you
and me
and Dale Robert and Jim Avocado, if you want to email me at the book covers website, hello@bookcovers.com, give me a couple days to respond, because I got a lot of emails coming in there too. But if you need that, if you want to just forward me an email you got and I'm like, hey, is this a scam? I'll tell you. Feel free to do that. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking to go in a group like 20 books to 50K on Facebook and post something like this, and all the pitchforks come out. If you just would have searched, you would have found the answer. And okay, sorry guys, not saying that will happen, but that can, if you have that feeling and you don't want to do it for that reason, just send me an email. You're not gonna, emails are free, so you can send me an email. I'll let you know if it's a scam. But just remember what I said before. It's probably a scam.
Okay.
If you're wondering if it is, when in doubt, there is no doubt.
For sure. Okay, we're coming up to time. So I wanted to ask both of you guys if you had any final words of wisdoms when it comes to scams, just like a key item that we can leave our viewers with and listeners. Dale, let's start with you.
Take care of each other. That's literally it. I think we've covered so much ground at this point. Just take care of each other out there. And even if it seems like you've said it 50,000 times, share it 51,000 more times.
Love it. Perfect. Mr. Thacker.
I will say, I kind of talked around this whole idea, but this is not going to be the only iteration of this scam. And we've talked about a few different iterations of scams, sure, but we will have something different next year or next week or whatever. So I think what the value that Dale has brought in talking about the community aspect of this, that's the generic yet very, very useful advice. Whatever scam comes down the pike, if you can get invested in a community even just a little bit, that's going to be your first defense against this kind of thing, whatever it looks like. So yeah, be safe out there, be kind to each other. That's just, that's the 11th commandment. Don't be a jerk. So yeah, go do those things, and good luck to you.
All right. Thanks for that, you guys. Great place to end. So I just wanted to remind the community, if you found something useful in this episode here, if you could do us a favor and share it with your author friends, we really, really appreciate that. Secondly, to know which episodes are coming up, meaning topics and guests, to find out, bookmark d2dlive.com. And for any of you out there who may be experimenting with self-publishing, perhaps for the very first time, sign up for your free Draft to Digital account simply by going to draft2digital.com.
Not Draft to Digital Publishing or anything else.
Right. Don't give them any ideas, Nick. Thank our guests once again, Nick Thacker and Dale Roberts. You guys, appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Go grab some drinks and some green M&Ms backstage. I'll see you back there in a second. For our viewers out there, you guys, thank you for joining us week in and week out. We so appreciate all of you. And for those of you who have joined us for the first time, we hope you feel welcome. We hope you got something out of this episode, and we hope to see you again here next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ebooks are great, but there's nothing quite like holding your own print book in your hand. It's a beautiful celebration of your writing accomplishment. That's why we've created D2D Print, a convenient and easy print-on-demand service built to make it easy for you. We've got more than 20 beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your book cover into a machine-perfect full wraparound cover for print. Yet another convenient option for you and your books. And you can get started right now at draftedigital.com.